good to see you here on 5 Plus for another edition of 5 Outdoors. This weekend, the Modern Gun Youth Season opened up in Arkansas for those young hunters getting their first crack at maybe their first deer. And so I thought to myself, what better time than now to bring on an organization that's doing some incredible work all across Arkansas. It's called Arkansas Hunters Feeding the Hungry. This is Ronnie Ritter, one of the leaders of the organization. Now, Ronnie, the impact of your organization spans the entire state, and you guys have just done some incredible work in a short 25 years from where this thing started to where it's at now. For folks that might not be familiar, tell me about Arkansas Hunters Feeding the Hungry.
So Arkansas Hunters Feeding the Hungry started 25 years ago. It's hard to believe it's been that long. And so we initially started with just 2 or 3 processors in central Arkansas. So we told the hunter, you kill a deer, you field dress it, you drop it off at one of these participating processors, and we take care of the rest.
Sure.
So actually initially we did steaks and roast and burger, but we realized pretty quickly a lot of the recipients might not know what to do with a steak or a roast. So we pivoted pretty quickly over to just burger. How many different kinds of hamburger helper can you do? Lots of them.
There's a few choices.
There's several choices. So initially we just had a few processors in central Arkansas. I think we did 8,000 or 10,000 pounds that first year, 25 years ago. So we just continued to develop processors all across the state. We've got about 70 now.
Wow.
So there's one almost in every county in the state, or pretty close.
That's right.
So
now today the program works like this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I want to make this as simple as possible for folks at home. You go out and kill a deer, and you either decide, I don't have the freezer space, I don't really particularly care for venison, or maybe I've already filled out all my other tags, or maybe I just want to make sure someone that needs this beef, or this venison, has it. You can literally take your deer to one of your processors, wash your hands.
Yep.
At that point, it's over with. They take it
with.
from there.
Yeah, and it doesn't cost you anything. We take care of the processing costs. So
really?
Yeah, we actually, I negotiate with the processors because processing costs have gotten pretty high.
Okay.
I mean, it's gotten really high.
Ballpark and average cost. I know it depends on cuts and what you're doing.
Yeah, if you do specialty products, it can be pretty expensive. Probably $100 is if you just do the regular cut steaks and roast. And so any new processor, I start off at 0. I said, will you do it for nothing? and there are some folks every now and then, but it's a business for a lot of the processors. Yeah. So we pay them half, 2/3 price.
Okay.
And again, I try to negotiate that as cheap as I can because we're a nonprofit. We're not funded. Well, we are funded. When you buy a hunting or fishing license, you can donate.
That's right.
$5 or $10.
That's right.
I'll leave out the one. I won't even mention $1.
Well,
that option's on there, but let's don't talk about
it. Look, the cost of hunting and fishing in Arkansas is so negligible.
Yeah.
And those license fees have not gone up. It's like the one thing that inflation hasn't touched.
Yeah.
Folks need to be donating every time you go in there and buy a license.
Absolutely. So that helps us pay for the processing costs. So all you've got to do is just field dress that deer and drop it off, and you're done. You're done. It doesn't cost you anything. And now you need to record that you killed a deer, call it in, get a check number. So, but if you donate it locally, it stays local. If it's donated up here, it stays up here. We don't send it back to Little Rock or anywhere else.
High quality protein right there in wherever you live is going to feed your neighbor that just might not know where their next meal is coming from.
Absolutely.
And we know that food insecurity in Arkansas is higher than most places.
We're number 1, unfortunately, now. It was just announced a few weeks ago, maybe a month or 2 ago, that we're always been up there in the top 2 or 3. But you think about Arkansas, we're number 1 in rice. In deer, we've got who knows how many deer.
We have a lot.
We have a lot. So we kill about 195,000 deer a year. Hunters Feeding Hungry only gets about 3,000 of those deer.
Okay.
So we could do a lot more.
Now, you take a deer, how many meals are you able to distribute from one deer?
So typically, it depends on whether it's a doe or a buck.
Sure.
A doe will produce probably 35 pounds of meat. So we're looking at, if you quarter pound per serving. So 120, 150, maybe up to 200 servings. Yeah, just on one. Just on one. So it doesn't take a lot. A lot of people think, well, it's just one deer. But a lot of people, and I've been guilty of it myself, we'll be out there hunting in the evening, and you'll have a lot of does maybe out there in the field. It's like, man, I don't want to mess with it. It's work. Take that extra effort, shoot that doe or buck, and field dress it, carry it to the local processor. And you can find those at arkansashunters.org, listed by county. There's probably one close to you somewhere.
I'll tell you, looking ahead to Modern Gun, I've already gone to your website. I've looked at the processors. I know there's a couple near me. I'm going to fill my own freezer first.
Yeah, sure.
But that ain't going to take much work at all. And so I know I got a few more tags to go that I'm just going to let you guys have them. The work you're doing is incredible. But it's not just ground venison. It's not just the other steaks. You kind of stumbled into another program that turns out you met a big need. Tell me about the meat sticks.
Yeah. About 6 years ago, we thought, we'd been serving the needs of families, a lot of maybe the elderly, homeless shelters. So we thought, maybe what can we do for kids? So we called a couple schools and said, we know you have a weekend backpack program for kids that go home that may need food. And so
just to get them through the weekend.
It's good for the weekend. They fill their backpacks, or sometimes it's a sack or something they put in. And so we said, what about if we gave you some meat sticks made from deer, and they look like this. They're shelf stable.
Okay.
Have a 9-month shelf life, so they're not going to go bad. But they're not going to last the weekend. The kids are going to eat these first. They said, oh yes, we need that. Protein's hard to get. They put peanut butter in there, but there's some allergies with peanut butter, nuts and stuff. So they just said, oh yes. So we did that. The first year, I think we did about 10,000 packages maybe.
Wow.
Which was still a lot.
Yeah.
But
what'd you do last year?
Last year we did 126,000.
126,000?
In fact, Scott, we'll go this fall as we get in a process. We'll hit that 500,000 mark in these shelf-stable protein sticks.
Wow.
I would have never believed.
Remarkable.
I had no idea where this would go.
Remarkable.
Yeah, it's remarkable. I'm still at awe on how this program's gone. It's like.
And I think to myself, not only can you just donate an entire deer, but maybe you say, hey, I've got room in my freezer for a half, and I want to keep that to feed my own family, but you can donate the other half.
Yes, you can. And even if you've got deer left over in your freezer and you say, man, I want to still hunt, but I've got meat left in my freezer, call me or text me or email me. There's if as long as it's good processed and it's not freezer burnt, we'll take that and get it to a food bank.
Okay.
And let them distribute it. We don't do any distributions. I get a lot of calls and emails, so sign me up on your list.
Yeah.
We did 80,000 pounds last year. I don't want to distribute that.
Yeah.
I can't. This is impossible. We don't have a place to store it, so we work with local food pantries. We have a food pantry assigned, sometimes several, to one processor. When he gets a couple 100 pounds, or when he needs to move it out to make room, he will call that food pantry. They come pick it up.
Got it.
We have to work that way, otherwise it would be chaotic.
Well, it seems very efficient, and when things are so connected so locally, food staying here, meat staying here, like why not? Just let it work that way. Okay, so we've talked about if you bag a deer, how to get the meat to you. But I'm acutely aware that there's somebody watching out there this weekend that says, hey, I don't actually go deer hunt. I'm more of a duck guy, right? But I want to help these folks. And you can donate, of course, when you buy your license, but there's probably some other ways we can get some money to you, huh?
Yeah, you can go on our website and you can, via credit card, you can send us a check. So, as a nonprofit, you always need money.
Sure.
There's no guaranteed source of income that we have. So we have some great sponsors. I write a lot of grants through the Arkansas Community Foundation, which are scattered all across the state. Farm Bureau has been a sponsor the last couple of years. Various other places. Sometimes a bank will maybe sponsor a school to do this. So this program has just grown so much. I may need to put the brakes on this because we do a lot up here in Northwest Arkansas as well. I delivered 4,000 packages to Farm Bureau in Benton County yesterday for them to distribute to schools in that county.
So you mentioned Farm Bureau there. You've got some partners that keep the wheels moving.
We do.
Who are they?
Farm Bureau, Arkansas Community Foundation, obviously Game and Fish has been a partner since day one, because we can't do what we do without those guys. I work with a biologist, and gosh, we have some of these trailers that we put at weekend hunting camps for them to fill it up. So we've got trailers at 2 commissioners' hunting clubs here in Arkansas.
That's incredible.
So and that's just another part of the program that makes these snack sticks. We have 4 refrigerated trailers that we can set up at a hunting camp on a weekend and let them shoot some extra does. That's
fantastic. Ronnie, you guys are doing some incredible work. Addressing food insecurity is something that's really important at Channel 5 here. It's one of our core missions. So I want you to come back on the program anytime you've got something you want to share.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
We want to help you guys out. All right, that's going to do it for this week's edition of 5 Outdoors. Join us back here next weekend. Got a really exciting program for you queued up then. In the meantime, have a good weekend.